Welcome to the deep dive. We're plunging into some really interesting ideas today, pulling out the insights that, hopefully matter to you. And today's topic, well, it's huge. It's that timeless quest for connection, that feeling of wanting to find the right person.
hmm
It's something so many of us think about, right?
hmm
Looking around, searching. But the source we're using for this deep dive, it's this guide called Becoming the Right Person, a guide to attracting love by Mark at Knowledge is King. And it really flips the script. It challenges that whole outward search, suggests something different, maybe even counterintuitive. The core idea really grabbed me straight away.
It's a big shift, isn't it? A fundamental one. The main saying they highlight in the source, it sounds simple, but it's deep. You'll find the right person when you become the right person. So what we're going to do in this deep dive is unpack that. Like, what does that actually mean? Working on yourself, really looking at your own stuff, your flaws, well, areas for growth, evolving. And then instead of just looking outward.
Exactly. And it's not just a slogan they use once. This idea runs through the whole thing. We'll get into some powerful phrases like, you attract what you are, not what you want. And also this one, the journey to finding the right person begins with self-improvement. It really feels like it puts the power back in your hands.
It absolutely does. It reframes the whole thing. It's not a hunt anymore. It's more like internal gardening,
Yeah.
cultivating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And as we explore this source, you'll see the argument is that focusing on your own growth, well, it tends to attract like-minded individuals, people on a similar wavelength, which then fosters, healthier and more fulfilling relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships built on things like mutual respect, understanding, and growth. And the end result, the source suggests, is that the right person just naturally shows up, comes into your life at the right time because you've kind of prepared the ground.
Okay, right. So it's a paradigm shift. Not finding, but becoming. That's the
Ah.
core. But how? How does the source say we actually do that? Because I can hear someone listening thinking, okay, sounds good, but where do I even start with becoming? What are the steps?
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
And yeah, the guide does get practical. It doesn't just stay philosophical. It starts with it goes radical self-awareness.
Hmm.
And that isn't just, knowing your good points. It's about honestly facing your flaws.
Hmm.
Though the source likes to call them areas for growth, makes it sound less final. So for instance, if you keep ending up in relationships where you feel like nobody listens to you,
Mm-hmm.
the guide prompts you to look inside.
Mm.
Ask yourself, are you really listening? Or maybe, are you not communicating your own needs clearly enough?
Right.
Things like that.
Okay, so seeing patterns, definitely,
Yeah.
and then tracing those patterns back to maybe your own habits or beliefs even. Does it give like techniques for doing that, for
Yeah.
that kind of self-reflection beyond just asking hard questions?
It does, yeah. One key thing that it talks about is called the mirror exercise. It suggests taking time regularly just to notice your reactions, your emotions in different situations, especially social ones. When you feel something strong and negative, instead of immediately blaming the other person or the situation.
Which is usually the first instinct, right?
Totally. But instead, the guide says ask. What inside me is getting triggered right now? It's about seeing how our outside world often mirrors our inside world. Like if you always feel criticized by partners, the source might ask you to check, are you maybe really hard on yourself? Projecting that self-criticism.
Wow. Okay. That's powerful. So the flaws aren't just defects, they're like internal patterns we might be sending out without realizing it. And that's where you attract what you are really clicks in, doesn't it?
Precisely.
If I'm carrying around, say, a deep insecurity, even if I say I want security, I might actually attract people who kind of poke at that insecurity.
That's exactly the argument. The source says our subconscious stuff, our unresolved issues, they act like magnets. So if you need constant validation because you don't really feel your own worth inside, well, you might attract partners who are also needy, or maybe worse, people who kind of exploit that neediness.
Mhm.
The deep dive here is realizing attraction isn't just conscious desire. It's about the whole energy, the vibration you embody.
So if I'm embodying insecurity, I attract more insecurity. That feels a little stark.
Mm.
But I guess the flip side is there's real agency there. If I work on my self-worth, genuinely build it up, then I should naturally start attracting people who value themselves and therefore value me too.
That's exactly the idea. The guide puts it like you begin to address these internal patterns and you naturally raise your relational frequency. That's maybe a good way to put it.
Yeah.
You just stop putting up with dynamics that don't feel right, that don't help you grow.
Yeah.
And you start noticing and being drawn to people who are also doing their own work. People focus on self-awareness, mutual respect. And that's how it connects back to attracting those like-minded individuals and fostering those healthier, more fulfilling relationships. You basically upgrade your standards for what you accept and also for what you offer.
That really is a profound shift then. It stops being just about finding a partner and becomes about attracting a certain kind of relationship, one built on healthier stuff. Does the source go into what those healthier foundations look like specifically?
It does. It really highlights three key things: mutual respect, understanding, and growth.
Okay.
So mutual respect, pretty straightforward, but crucial. Honoring boundaries, opinions, just each other's separate self, not trying to mold someone. Understanding that's deeper than just hearing. It's empathy, trying to really get where the other person is coming from, even if you don't agree.
Mm-hmm.
And then growth. This one's maybe the most tied to the core idea. Both people are committed to their own journey, their own evolution, and they support each other in that. It's about growing together, not staying stuck or thinking the other person should make you happy all the time.
So the theory is when both people are actually committed to that internal work, the relationship itself becomes like a space for more growth and fulfillment instead of just a place to dump old baggage.
Yeah.
Sounds way more active, more conscious than just hoping someone comes along and completes you.
Oh, absolutely. The source is pretty clear on that. The whole soulmate idea.
Mm.
It's not about finding someone to fill your gaps. It's more like finding someone whose path aligns with yours, so you can both become more whole side by side. Two complete people choosing to build something even better. And that's where that idea clicks in, the right person showing up at the right time. When you've done that inner work, when you're self-aware, aligned, you're actually ready to see that connection and ready to nurture it. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, that central message from becoming the right person, a guide to attracting love, really stands out, doesn't it? Finding that deep, meaningful relationship isn't really about looking out there so much. It's fundamentally about, well, an internal transformation first.
Yeah. And I think the biggest takeaway for you listening has got to be just how empowering that is. The importance of becoming the best version of you. Like the source says, personal growth is the key to finding a meaningful relationship. That whole idea that when you really find yourself first, the right person tends to follow. You sort of become a magnet for the right kind of love.
Right. And if you connect that to maybe a bigger view, it really hints at this idea that the universe aligns when you align with your true self. It reinforces that the right person, the one who genuinely fits at the you've become, they'll show up when you are truly ready for them, when you've made space for that kind of connection.
So the final thought for you to maybe chew on is this. Thinking about your own journey, your own self-growth, what aspects could you maybe focus on starting today to really work towards being the person you hope to attract? What's one small step you could take?